Hey y'all, how y'all doing? Okay, so I am calling this video your grocery store grimoire, and I was inspired to do this video after I was walking through my own local grocery store and I saw some things and it hit me how available certain things are to me now that would not be available to me if I was shopping at the Piggly Wiggly in my hometown in the deep south. Um, Really quick background. I've told y'all before that I grew up in a very small town in the south, and now I live on an island in the Pacific Northwest. In fact, there is a naval base right down the road from me, and there's people on this island from all over the country. There is a lot of Dutch and there's a lot of Asians here, so a lot of these places around me really cater to these different cultures, and so that's why I have things available to me that perhaps you don't have at your local grocery store, just like I'm sure there's other places that you're going to have things that I don't have. There are, let me think, 4 grocery stores in the town I live in, and one of them is almost completely Asian. I went there one time with a friend and I walked in, and every bit of space in that store had a sign on it, and most of it wasn't in English, but I walked up and down the aisles and I'm like, oh my God, here's this, here's this, here's this. But where I shop, I've been shopping there since 2006, which was the same year I came here, and I've seen it kind of grow and change and with what they carry. And so I just want to talk to you about a couple of things that I have right here that I could just grab and go and use in my magic and spells that otherwise someone else in a smaller town or a different might have to order from a retailer or Amazon or what have you. Now, before I start, let me just say, I'm not going to talk to you about things like honey for your honey jars, because most every grocery store has honey. I'm not going to talk to you about salt, how to use salt in your spells, but I will say that me personally, when I have my salt that I buy for cooking, and I have my salt I buy for magic. The salt I buy for cooking is just regular, salt with the little blue thing and the girl with the umbrella, and but the salt I use for magic is always by kosher salt, because I am part Jewish, and it is my understanding that kosher salt has already been blessed by a rabbi. I'm not going to talk to you about things like, lemons to do sour spells on your enemy, or apples to do sweetening spells on someone. So some of these you may have, some of these you may not, and you'll probably have some things in your grocery store I don't have in mine. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is I was walking down my produce section at my local grocery store, and I looked over and I saw this. See that? Do y'all know what that is? That is, it said it was galanga root. Now you and me might know this as galangal root, or Little John, or Little John to chew. This is the root that it's in the ginger family, and this is the root that Dr. Buzzard probably would have chewed when he did his court case spells. And this one I'm in the process of drying. It was a little bit bigger, but it's starting to shrink with the drying. I'm going to show you one. I bought this earlier this summer, and I dried, and I love the way it dried. But look at this. This is the same root. It dried. Look how it looks like a hand, or maybe even a monkey's paw or something. See the hand? It looks like a hand there. There's the thumb and the other forefinger like that. What a lot of people don't know is that Little John is also good for money. So you can put this root in a little mojo bag with a silver dime or a $2 bill or some other money drawing herbs and curios, and it'll draw money to you. This one, I just so happen to keep it on my prosperity altar, and I put a little silver dime in the palm of that hand, to hold that hand. But just to show you the contrast there. This one is in the process of drying. This one I dried earlier this summer. Now, no, some of y'all were already asking me, how did you do it? Okay, so in the summer, what I did was I bought this root, and I put it in the window facing east while I was at work. And every day I'd come home, I would just turn it over. And it got so hot in that little window, it eventually dried. Now that winter's here, we don't get a lot of sunlight. This one, I set it on a table in my living room near where the heater vent. So when the heat comes on, it blows hot air over this and it dries it out. So this one is fairly dry, but it's going to shrink some more. So anyway, oops. Anyway, that there was your Little John to chew. Oh, and I made a list too. The next thing I want to talk to you about, and I did not buy one because I didn't need one, but in my grocery store, they had something called gobo root. That's G-O-B-O. And it looked, now that I think about it, it was about this long, it was thicker on one end, and tapered down, almost like a candle. Now you and me may know that as boldo root, B-O-L-D-O. And boldo root is a very strong root for protection. You can take slices of that and carry it in a mojo bag with your personal concerns and other protective herbs and curios for protection. Then I have here on my list is pumpkin spice. I didn't buy any of that. I think I have some though. Pumpkin spice comes out usually in the fall, right before Thanksgiving, and it's a spice that is comprised of cinnamon, nutmeg, cloves, allspice, and ginger, all mixed together. And that is a very good money mixture. You can use it like a powder. You can put a little bit on your hand, go to your front door, blow some into your home. You can fix you up a money candle. Take you a green candle, carve the word wealth on it, anoint it with oil, take you some of that pumpkin spice, sprinkle on the candle, or put the powder on a flat surface, roll the candle, the oiled candle, through that powder towards yourself and call money to you. Set that candle up on your altar and burn it for money. Now, most of y'all should have pumpkin spice. Now, a lot of you is probably not going to have this next thing. I found it. I saw it, I was drawn to it, I bought it, and I wanted to do a little bit of research on it. And this is called Chinese 5 Spices. This is what it looks like, Chinese 5 Spices. And it says a traditional blend of spices used in Chinese cooking. So I did a little research, and the Chinese 5 Spices, as you can imagine, it's different from depending on the region you buy it from. But the main ingredients are cinnamon, fennel, seed, star anise, cloves, and ginger. These are all hot herbs. And what would I use this for? I would use this for a sex spell or a lust spell. So I might take, well, I'm gay, so I'd probably take a male Adam candle. That's a naked man candle. And write the name of the person I want on that candle. Or I would take and meticulously carve the qualities I'm looking for in someone. Tall, financially stable, emotionally available, sexually compatible, things like that. Carve it. And then I would anoint that candle with oil. And again, now I can't roll a human finger candle because it's not oval, for lack of a better word. But I could take this Chinese 5 Spice, maybe put some in my palm, maybe use my right hand. Think about what I want, visualize it, call it, and then blow that spice onto the candle, and it will stick to the oil, and then light that candle to draw, a hot lover to me. What else did I write down here? There are lots of these, but I'm going to focus on one. I was walking through a section of the store, and I saw they had garlic oil. I think it's used to, you can dip bread in it, or put it in a salad or something. But I thought, garlic oil, that would be great. What is garlic for, y'all? Protection. You can use garlic oil to anoint protection candles, or if you have a talisman. It might smell a little bit, so I wouldn't use a whole lot on your talisman or your hands unless you want to go around smelling like garlic. But specifically, garlic, we know traditionally is used for protection from vampires. So I might use garlic oil in a spell to protect me from an energy vampire. What I might do is take a black candle and flip it. Some people call that budding it, is where you cut the tip off the candle, turn it upside down, and dig a new wick out of the bottom. And then I would carve the energy vampire's name on the candle backwards, anoint it with garlic oil, burn that candle on their name paper or a mirror or their photograph face down to send that away. That's why you flip a candle. You're reversing the energy. So you can, whatever you are reversing or sending away is symbolized by the color of the candle, the words you carve on the candle or the wish paper, intention paper you put under the candle. So let's say if you had someone who was making unwanted advances to you, you might flip a red candle because red's the color of desire and you want to send that person away. What else did I write down here? I don't know what it's called, but I wrote down turkey twine. You see this around Thanksgiving sometimes. It's this big spool of white, not thread, not really cord. I don't know what it's called, but string. It's sort of a thick string. It's white, and people use this to tie their turkey legs together when they cook it. I like to get this and use it for knot spells, or I can use it for when I do a binding, like if I'm going to bind a doll baby up, or there's a spell to disarm an enemy. You make a doll of them and you blindfold it and gag them, and you take their hands and tie it behind their back and maybe tie their legs together, and you sit it in a corner and you leave it there. I also like to use that turkey twine for sometimes I sew my own mojo bags, or I'll buy a mojo bag from someone online and I don't always like the cord that they use to tie the bag, and I'll take it out and use that turkey twine to make a cord for the bag for myself. Another thing, so there's lots of different kind of oils in the grocery store you can use. Oh, I didn't write it down, but I did want to tell y'all, going back to the Chinese 5 spices, if you, in that love spell, if you don't have, love me oil or whatever, a special oil from a retailer, you can use peanut oil in your lust and lust spells, especially anything directed toward men, because what people don't know is peanuts, first of all, doctrine of signatures, peanuts are associated with the male testicles. Men say, oh, you got me in the nuts. Nuts are associated with male genitalia. But what a lot of people don't know is there is a chemical in peanuts that they use to make Viagra, which is used to help a man get an erection. So if I was to use this Chinese 5 spice to draw that lover here, I would probably anoint that candle with peanut oil. So always get yourself a little bit of peanut oil for those sex spells. Vanilla extract. Vanilla extract is really good for attracting a lover or just getting people to like you. In the old show, the Beverly Hillbillies, Granny used to put a little bit of vanilla extract behind her ears when she went to courting. And if you ever really watch that show and break down a lot of Granny's formulas, the people who wrote that show really did do their research. Darn it, I don't know where I have it. I have a copy here of Ozark Folk Magic, and like I said, a lot of the things on that show made sense if you really did your research. That's all on my list, but as I was getting ready to make this a video, I remember there's something else. I actually have one up there. I'm not going to show it to you, but I call it the orange netting or the ham netting. I don't have an example to show you right here, but when you buy a ham and it has that sort of plastic netting over it, or if you buy a bag of oranges, it's just sort of in that netting that crisscrosses, I like to keep I try to cut it in such a way that it's still kind of like a bag. So like maybe you cut the tip off, get your oranges out, and it's still kind of like a bag. And if I have an enemy or someone bothering me, I'll make a doll of that person and I'll put it in that netting, just like in the movie, someone's walking along and suddenly the net comes up, catches them, and they're up in a tree, hanging from a tree in that net. And I'll take that doll and put it upside down in a jar, and I'll put that jar in a dark place, and that just sort of traps that person and keeps them from bothering me, and they leave you alone, and you can leave it there however you want to in that little trap. Anyway, I'm sure there's lots of other examples. These are just a couple that I have used, I am using, or I will use, that I have at my store. You probably have things at your store I don't have at mine, and there's probably more things there that I just haven't really seen or thought of yet. Anyway, that is your grocery store grimoire, and I hope you like this video. Have a good week, everybody.